All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, I'm going to be stepping into a very specific role. Imagine I am your acting Chief Information Security Officer, or CISO, and I'm here to brief you, our corporate board, on a massive ticking liability that's currently sitting deep inside our data infrastructure. We're dealing with a threat that really isn't a matter of if, but when, and it fundamentally challenges absolutely everything about how we secure our corporate secrets. We've got a lot of ground to cover to understand exactly what we're up against and what we need to do. First, we'll cover the Q-Day threat. Then we'll look at our current cryptography vulnerabilities, followed by a terrifying concept called harvest now, decrypt later. Next, we'll go over the actual business costs of waiting, and finally, we'll lay out our quantum-safe roadmap. Okay, kicking things off with part one, the Q-Day threat. Let me give you the bottom line up front. Our current cryptographic defenses, literally the math that keeps this entire company running securely, they have a definitive expiration date. To really understand our current security posture, I want you to picture that famous internet meme known as Schroders plates. You know the one. It's a picture of a glass kitchen cabinet and a massive stack of heavy porcelain plates has slipped inside. They are leaning completely against the glass door. Disaster is already locked in, the plates are going to fall, it is literally just waiting for someone to turn the handle and open the door. Well, for our enterprise data, those falling plates represent our current encryption standards. The exact moment that door opens and those plates crash, we call that Q-Day. Q-Day is the day when quantum computing finally reaches the level of maturity required to completely shatter classical cryptography. Now, unlike dropping a plate where you might have a split second to catch it, doing absolutely nothing here guarantees our defenses will break. Our current cryptography just wasn't designed to withstand the sheer processing power of a fully mature quantum computer. Section 2. Cryptography Vulnerabilities. To really grasp the magnitude of this, we need to briefly look under the hood at how we currently lock down our corporate secrets, customer data, and internal communications. Basically, we rely on two main types of ciphers. First, we have symmetric encryption, primarily something called AES. This uses one single complex key to both lock and unlock data. It's super fast, and we use it for bulk data encryption. Second, we have asymmetric encryption, like RSA. This one relies on the extreme mathematical difficulty of factoring giant prime numbers to create two mathematically related keys, a public key and a private key. It's a lot slower, but it's what allows us to securely distribute keys in the first place, and it forms the entire backbone of our digital certificates. So the crucial takeaway here is that we rely on a combination of both: fast symmetric AES for our bulk data, and asymmetric RSA for verifying identities and handing out those keys securely. Now, here's where things get wild. Quantum computing actually attacks these two systems in entirely different ways. There's something called Grover's algorithm, which acts like a hyper-fast brute force attack, and it severely weakens our standard 128-bit symmetric AES keys. Now, fortunately, we can actually defend against Grover's pretty easily just by doubling our key size to 256 bits. But then there's Shor's algorithm. Shor's algorithm completely obliterates the prime factorization math behind our asymmetric RSA. We can't just double the key size to fix it. Shor's breaks the underlying math completely. We are going to need entirely new quantum-safe algorithms to replace it. If we don't replace these vulnerable algorithms before Q-Day, the impact on our enterprise will be catastrophic. Just imagine a world with literally zero corporate secrets. Poof, gone. Our intellectual property, our strategy, personal health records, permanently exposed to the public, or worse, our competitors. On top of that, authentication completely breaks down. We won't be able to tell the difference between a legitimate remote employee logging in and a nation-state attacker. And finally, digital signatures will fail. A vendor contract for 10 units could be maliciously altered to 10,000 units, and our systems would have absolutely no cryptographic way to even detect that tampering. Moving on to Section 3. Harvest now, decrypt later. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, well, hold on. Quantum computers of that massive scale don't even exist yet. We've got plenty of time. But as your CISO, let me introduce you to the single most urgent threat we are facing today. Attackers right now, whether we're talking hacker collectives or heavily funded nation-states, are actively copying and hoarding our encrypted high-value data. Sure, they can't actually read it today, but they are very, very patient. They are harvesting our data now with the exact intention to decrypt it later. This means the attack has already occurred. The failure is already locked in. If they scraped our data last week, or heck, even last year, they are just sitting back, waiting for the technology to catch up so they can read our most closely guarded secrets. Which brings us perfectly to Section 4, the business cost of waiting. This harsh reality is exactly why we cannot afford to just procrastinate on a massive infrastructure upgrade. Let's map out the timeline here. At year 0, literally right now, our data is actively being harvested. Looking ahead, global governments and regulatory agencies have basically reached a consensus. Between 2030 and 2035, they are officially going to deprecate our old cryptographic standards. But here's the kicker. Experts project that actual Q-Day, the day the hardware can actually break the encryption, could hit in just 5 to 10 years. And frankly, attackers aren't exactly going to send out a press release when they achieve this, right? We won't know Q-Day has happened until it is far, far too late. 4,000. That's a big number. This represents the typical number of cryptography instances deeply embedded across a legacy enterprise environment, exactly like ours. It's hiding in our servers, our web apps, our network appliances. It is everywhere. So think about the operational task here. It's monumental. Let's do the math. If we identify all 4,000 instances and somehow manage to convert exactly one instance every single day to a new quantum-safe standard, it will still take us over a decade to complete the migration. We do not have a 10-year runway before Q-Day hits. If we wait to start, we are mathematically guaranteeing that we will be caught with exposed infrastructure. If we sit on our hands and delay this project, our operational costs are going to skyrocket. First, the scale is just too vast to finish in time. Second is consultant scarcity. If we wait until 2029 or 2030, literally every single company on Earth will be scrambling to hire the exact same rare quantum cryptography experts. We'll be paying absolutely extortionate premium fees, assuming they even return our calls. And finally, the wildcard factor. Someone could publish a sudden academic breakthrough tomorrow that instantly compresses our entire 5 to 10-year timeline down to 0. Section 5, Quantum Safe Roadmap. Okay, take a breath. It's not all doom and gloom. We are not helpless here. The global cryptographic community has actually been preparing for this for years, and we know exactly what steps we need to take to secure our infrastructure. To neutralize this ticking liability, I am officially requesting immediate budget authorization from this board to execute a phased roadmap. Step 1. We immediately double all of our symmetric AES key sizes to 256-bit to lock out Grover's algorithm. Step 2. We begin the highly complex process of ripping out and replacing our asymmetric algorithms with completely new post-quantum cryptography, or PQC. And step 3, we execute this entire conversion starting specifically with our highest value, most sensitive data first. That is how we immediately mitigate the harvest now, decrypt later threat. I want to leave you with one final thought going back to our Schroders plates. Remember, the adversary likely already has copies of our encrypted files. The data is already sitting on their servers, just waiting for our current locks to break. The disaster is set. So the real question for the board today is, will we authorize this roadmap and upgrade our logs, or will we just stand here and watch those plates crash?